Today's Talk About It Tuesday question is, are short-term rentals still a good investment? Wow, that is a good question and a complicated question to answer. So when we think about a business or an investment, oftentimes we'll look at what's happening right now, or we'll look at what was trending, in the last several months or a year or even years, to make a decision. And really, that information is not that valuable because what we're considering is how well this thing will perform in the near future and or in the long-term future. So if we look at the travel and tourism industry at the moment, it's booming. But that's a false indicator because we have to look at not what it's doing now, because what it's doing now you should have predicted and planned for 6 months ago, maybe even a year ago. But to say, is it still a good investment, you have to consider what it will be doing 6 months from now, a year from now. And so what do we look at? We can't look at the stats because you have to understand people were locked down for a couple of years. They accumulated a lot of money during that time because everything was shut down. So spending ground to a halt, the travel and tourism industry ground to a halt. People were able to save record numbers during that time. So they had money to plan for vacations this summer. And as they're more comfortable with traveling during the pandemic, people are out. They're just out and they're doing it. And so short-term rentals are doing fairly well right now. The question is, will short-term rentals be doing as well 6 months from now, a year from now? And so we have to look at certain things that might allow us to make a prediction, a good prediction. Inflation is at an all-time high, right? So at least as high as it was in the last 40 years. So we're at 9-point-something% interest, which means the cost of day-to-day goods and services, things that are essential, are skyrocketing. The price of them is going up really high, which is cutting into people's budgets, which is cutting into all that savings that people accumulated. So the price of fuel is going up, which means to travel to another place is expensive if you drive. The price of airline tickets is going up because of fuel. So the cost of traveling far in an airplane, that cost is going up, which leaves less money for your actual vacation. So if we look at those numbers and we say, okay, are those numbers going to taper off or come down? There's no indication currently that inflation is going to come down in the near future. There's no indication that fuel costs are going to drop significantly in the near future, which means that if the day-to-day essentials cost more, then what gets cut out of the budget? The non-essentials. And for most people, a vacation is considered non-essential. And so even the type of vacation that people will take begins to get tapered down. And so maybe you don't stay in an Airbnb. Maybe you stay in a cheap motel. Maybe you do a staycation, something really local where you can just go for the day and you don't have to stay overnight anywhere. And so the question is, how do you make a determination? If you're not already into vacation rentals, do you try to jump in right now and take advantage of the boom in the moment? That's usually not a great strategy because you're usually looking forward. And if we look forward, all indicators tell us that that is an industry that will begin to decline, and we don't know how long it will decline. So you have to make a decision. I can't make that decision for you. I know that for me, I would look forward and say, why would I put money into an industry or any investment that in the near future, and when I say near future, we're talking 6 months to a year, I know it's going to decrease in profitability. Maybe I should look for something else. But you can make that determination. Maybe it's your opportunity because their competition will shrink Some people will get out of the industry, and maybe that leaves room for you to jump in and find a niche that's still making some decent money. And then when it comes back, you're already there. You're the established one that people go to. So, like I said, tough question, a little complex, but look at all the leading indicators that will tell you should you get in it now, or if you're in it, should you start to pivot and look for another way to make money? Great question. I'd like to hear your comments. Please like, share, subscribe, keep the questions coming, and I'll see you next Tuesday.